Okay, so in the last lesson you spent some time thinking about what makes a good newspaper report, and now you've got a better idea of what does make a good newspaper report. It's time to set up the template for our report, and by the end of today's lesson you will have set up the document and template for your report. You will have decided on the newspaper title and the font that you're going to use, and you will also have decided on your newspaper report headline and again the font and the size and the style that you're going to use. So let's get started. We're going to use Microsoft Publisher to do this. So if you go into All Programs, Microsoft Office, and there is Publisher. We are going to choose a blank portrait A4 size page, and there we go. Now basically what we're going to do is create a few different text boxes for the different text that we need on our front page. So up here you can see it says draw text box, and I'm going to take it from this corner here. You can see it's got margin guides. I don't really want to get outside of those guides. Over to here. And that is going to be the box that contains the title of my newspaper. So I'm going to call it the Daily Saxon. You might want to call it something else. Now obviously at the moment it doesn't really look like a newspaper headline. I know for a start that it needs to be much bigger. The text, I kind of want the text to go pretty much all the way across the page, and I'm going to put it in the center as well. Now I kind of want it a bit bolder as well, something that stands out a little more. So now it's just a case of looking through the different fonts that we've got here. I quite like that one actually, the Daily Saxon. Now you can see, now that font's actually a bit bigger, so I'm going to have to make it slightly smaller. Oh, that's too small. Now even though I've got 48 and 72 there, I can type in a size that's actually different. So I'm going to type in 60 and see what that happens. Or I wonder if I can even type in 62 and go a little bit bigger. Lovely. Now I know some newspapers have their title in white on a red background, and I feel like I might want to do that. So I am going to click on this text box so it is highlighted. There we go. And where am I going with this? Right, I'm going to make my text white, and in order to be able to see it I'm going to need to make the background red. So if I go to Format up here, Drawing Tools, Drawing Tools, and I'm going to put Fill Shape, and I'm going to fill it with a red colour, and there we go. Already I think it's starting to look a little bit more like a newspaper front cover. Now I'm going to go back to my Draw Text Box tool. I'm going to draw another text box, and you've probably guessed that this is going to be for the headline. And I've decided that the headline for my newspaper report is going to be Vikings Invade. Vikings Invade. And it's quite dramatic, so I'm going to have an exclamation mark on the end, but again, way too small. So I'm going to start off by making it much bigger. I'm also going to go here to center it, because it looks much better if it's in the middle, I think. Now I want a different font. I think I don't want the same font as my newspaper title. I want something quite bold but quite simple. So I think Franklin Gothic Heavy is a good bet. You can see again it's already too big for the text box, so I'm going to take the size down. I'm going to click in here and write 65. Oh, it fits. I might even be able to go a bit bigger. Let's try 67. 69. Oh, can I go even bigger? Can I go to 70? Lovely, 70. Now I know from my What Makes a Good Newspaper Report mind map that actually I think I want my headline to be in capitals. Now I don't have to retype it. If I highlight my text just by double clicking, I can go to this tool here, change case, and I can change it to all caps. And I'm going to have to adjust the size again slightly to make sure it fits. 66, is that going to fit? 65, going down one by one. 64, lovely. 64, Vikings invade, wonderful. So before I go any further, actually what I should do is save as. Should always save my work near the beginning, and I'm going to call it newspaper report. I'm going to save my documents, and that way as I go I can just keep pressing the control key and the S key together to save my work as I go, so I'm hopefully not going to lose anything. Right, so the next thing I need to think about where the body, the main part of my text, is going to go. So again, I'm going to draw a text box. It's going to be much bigger this time. It's going to go the rest of my page. But if I remember rightly, with a newspaper report, the writing doesn't just go from left to right all the way across the page. It's in columns. And with Publisher, I can split my text box into columns. So I've got my text box highlighted, and up here there's a little button that says columns, funnily enough. And I can choose the number of columns I want it split into. I'm going to choose to split it into 2, I think. So although you can't actually see that, that is now split into 2 columns. And I wonder if actually I can get that seen. They're going to show us. No. Okay, so there we go. I've got my text box, and I think I'm going to choose, let's just start typing in, this is where my story will go. And that, I'm probably happy with that font, although I might change it to something like Georgia is always a good bet. And I'm certainly not going to go any more than point size 14. 12 or 14 will be fine. So there we go. So I'm going to press Control S again to save. So I've kind of got my newspaper report set up now, but I know I'm going to definitely want at least one picture. So for that, I need a picture box. Oh, not that one. Where is my picture box? Picture placeholder, that's what I want. So insert tab, picture placeholder, and there you can see there's a box. That's not a text box, it's a picture box, and I'm going to make it about that size, and that is waiting there for me as well. Just want to see if we can get the to show up where the edges of the box are, but I can't seem to do that at the moment. So okay, we'll go back to normal. No, can't seem to get that. Okay, the only other thing that I need, I'm going to need another text box, because I want to put up here the date and a price. So that can be quite small actually. I think size 10 or 12 is going to be absolutely fine in terms of the font size. So I need to think about the date. I'm just going to write the words date at the moment. I can put the information in later. Price and issue. And I'm actually going to align that right because I want that to go on that side of things. And the other thing that I need, one more text box. It's at the top of my story. If you remember, we need that thing called a byline, which is the person who wrote the story. So by Claire Lotriet in my case. Oh, it would help if I spelt the word by correctly. There we go. And that can stay at the top of my story. And again, I'm going to press Control S. So I'm pretty much done. I've got my page setup, I've got my title of my newspaper, which I think is bold and stands out. I've got a text box ready for the date, price and issue of my newspaper. I've got a headline in place, which I think does actually look like a headline. I think I've chosen the correct font, size and style. I've got my byline, which is the information about who wrote the report. And I've got my text box set up ready in 2 columns. So as I type, if I just continue typing, you can see that it just automatically sets it up in columns. And I've also got my picture box ready here for me to insert a picture. So I'm all ready to go for the next lesson. Now, if you are feeling really confident today, you can have a go at setting up your own newspaper template, just like this in Microsoft Publisher. If you are not feeling ever so confident, if you go to Global Share, into the Year 6 folder and into our Viking newspaper reports folder, there is a newspaper template there set up for you with everything in the right place, but I haven't chosen fonts and font sizes and things. You'll have to work that out, but you can save as your own version of this and then you can edit this. So it depends how confident you're feeling. You can either use this version that's already here, save as, and change it to make it your own, or if you're really feeling confident and you really want to stretch your skills, you can set up your own newspaper report template in Publisher yourself. Have a go.